I've been a fan of the Squid Sisters as far as I can remember. Every morning I watch their announcements, paying so much attention that I can tell what they say just by reading their lips. Callie always leads the discussion and brings up interesting questions, while Mary's wit lets her reply with precision. They both deliver the news in the right amount of time too, but the thing they never ever forget to do is to remind us all squids to stay fresh. I don't know how to do that, but apparently it has something to do with being consistently good during matches. Initially, I would look at them from the plaza because I was too shy and embarrassed to stare, and I thought they would have hated me if I got too close. But after some time, I started noticing other Inklings doing the same thing I did, even going right up to their window. Eventually, I worked up the courage to do just that, just looking at them talking to each other on their break. They even waved at me once they noticed. I walked away in embarrassment, but eventually, I came back to do it again the very next day. Before I got there though, an Inkling asked me if I could join her up to the place. I thought she was joking, but she was sincere and justified that it's more fun that way. She also asked me if I knew anything specific about the Squid Sisters, like their family ties or what type of foods they like. Weirdo. Even I'm not that obsessed. Fortunately, she wasn't too persistent about it, and I didn't want to be alone, so I joined her to the place anyway. Spending my entire afternoon watching Callie and Mary chatting was a bit boring initially. I actually tried to read their lips to find out what they were talking about, but Callie kept moving her hand up to cover her mouth, and Mary was just responding to her all the time, so I couldn't discern what they were talking about. It seemed to be mostly food puns and coming up with slogans anyway. What's really interesting though, is that after a while, the Squid Sisters invited us inside their studio. But there was a catch. We had to answer a trivia question about them and I blew it. The girl next to me seemed more obsessed, so of course she answered her question right and got in. But how in the 7 seas was I supposed to know that Callie used to be afraid of heights? She always says she's not when presenting more towers as a stage. She's always so inconsistent. The good news is that they said it's okay and that I can try again tomorrow if I bring a friend. I was hoping they'd be nice and let me in anyway, but they probably needed to stick to their rules like promoting kids to stay in school or something. Whatever. I studied extra hard that night to prepare for any sort of trivia question they could throw at me, like who their great-grandfather was, or their least favorite type of candy. I brought someone with me the next day. To be honest, she wasn't really a friend, but I knew she was just as much as a fan as I was, and she squid jumped at the opportunity to meet her idols in person. We went up to the window and started our awkward staring session for what seemed to be hours. Eventually, they invited us in like last time, and I was able to answer correctly. The girl next to me didn't though. Actually, the question I got was really easy this time, while she got the really difficult one. So the sisters told her the same thing they did to me yesterday, to come back tomorrow and bring a friend. Too bad for her. As I entered the office, it felt strange to be on the other side of the window, as if I walked into a place I was never meant to get into. The sisters brought an extra chair and we talked between each other for a few minutes. It was about weird ambiguous stuff like if I was staying fresh or how much of their merchandise I bought. I wasn't answering everything honestly because I was a little nervous and didn't want to sound too lame. They noticed that others were looking and thought it would help by putting curtains up, but I was still really skittish around them. Kelly eventually got up and said that she had to see another fan that was waiting in another room. Mary looked like she was about to stay, but then her stomach growled. She apologized to me before saying she needed a snack too. Just before leaving, she told me I had to stay put until either she or someone else who can escort me came back, or otherwise she'd be in big trouble. So here I was, all alone in the recording room of the Squid Sisters, with no one able to see me thanks to those curtains. Well, some squids were taking peeks through the openings, but eventually got bored when they realized it was just me in there. As time slowly passed, I started to scan the area for an idea of what each device was for. The big screen immediately caught my attention, but I don't think I could operate it from this room, and even if I did, I would probably be punished for it. Same thing with the lights and camera. It felt really boring around here, without someone else to talk to. That must be why they keep telling us to bring a friend, so that when they ditch us, we don't get bored out of our minds stuck in this place. Since there was little to do in here, I started thinking about what was going on in the other room. How long did that other fan have to wait? When did they get there? And what were they waiting to do with Kelly? I tried to listen carefully to find out. A really low stream of sounds kept playing in what seemed to be in a loop. I couldn't tell if it was from outside or the other room. Wait. Where are the doors? I just realized I didn't notice how either of them left this place. In fact, now that I look around, it looks completely blocked off, as if I was sealed inside an abandoned building. A shiver went up my spine even though squids don't have bones. I got off my chair and started looking around to see if there was something that would indicate where an exit was. Then I started hearing this drilling sound. Wait, no, it sounded more like screaming. Whatever it was unnerving. I stayed near a wall for a semblance of safety when the sound shifted to some type of music, like a team show. Some creepy tune they've got over there. My heart was racing though, because I still felt something was fishy around here. It's been too long they've left me alone, and I don't even know how to get out of this place. Shouldn't they at least have a fire exit? Whatever the case, I sat in my chair again to contemplate what to do. I grabbed one of the lollipops to take a quick bite when I suddenly realized, why didn't Mary just use these as a quick snack? It began dawning on me that I was not safe here. Too many questions about their behavior, the terrifying isolated atmosphere, and... No! There has to be an explanation. It's only been a few minutes. They probably got cut up with the fan or something. Maybe Callie showed her how she got her tentacles to be twice her own size, or Mary's giving tips on how to diss the opposition. As for the lollipops, they tasted awful, as if they had been there for months. So Mary probably just wanted something better to eat. Yes, that must be it. No reason for panic. I just need to tear down these curtains, and once the other Inklings see me, and I can see them, I'll feel reassured of how perfectly safe I really am. As I tried to pull the curtains down, I realized they were locked in place. I couldn't even tear them apart no matter how hard I tried. Holy fish! Help! Get me out! Anyone! Silence. No one heard me. The window must be soundproof. Alright, calm down. Calm down. I'm just so inked up because this isn't what I expected. I started searching the walls for the doors. I couldn't care less if I got into trouble now. I just wanted to get out. As I slowly scanned every nook and cranny, everything got really quiet all of a sudden. Finally, I noticed one segment of the wall being a little different than the others. Sure enough, it was a secret switch, and a door opening revealed itself once I pressed it. Breathing a sigh of relief, I quickly went into it to find myself in a simple hallway with several doors on the sides. I couldn't recognize this place, but the open area at least made me feel as if I was more in control of myself. Even though it turned out nearly every door was locked, all except one, located near the far end. It led me to this huge open-like area with high walkways and a visible second floor. Tables were littered all over the place, giving me the idea that this was some type of lunchroom. I foolishly walked into the place as I started to hear that sound again, but this time, it wasn't drilling or screaming. It was an ice cream truck tune. The door automatically shut behind me, and I couldn't open it from this side because it lacked a knob. Panic returning to me, I shoveled in place for a few seconds before starting to explore the area. I went over to the truck to see if I could find something in it. The doors on the sides were locked, but the back seemed half open. Once I walked over to it, I almost went into shock after finding out the contents inside. Bodies! I recognized one of them being the girl who invited me from yesterday, and suddenly, a chewing sound coming from the second floor. I looked over. It was Callie and Mary, eating an Inkling! They're eating her! And then they're gonna eat me! A fly landed on my forehead just as I was about to scream. Oh my god! Callie and Mary entered back into their studio after a good night's sleep. They recited their morning announcements like every other day before. The only difference this time was that they put what seemed to be an extra little oomph into their closing slogan. Stay fresh!